Good morning students, welcome back in the second video of biology. So hope that you have revised the previous topic. Students, we have already started the chapter the nervous system, and in this topic we have already discussed about neurons, what is the function of the neurons. Then we have studied about two types of neurons, that are the sensory neurons and the motor neurons. Then we have studied about the function of motor neurons. Then we have studied about the nerves, types of nerves, that are sensory nerves, motor nerves and the mixed nerves. So hope that you have revised these whole things. Now today we will start the next part, that is the central nervous system. To start this, before that we will discuss about the concept map which I have drawn for you. Already we have started the nervous system, the types of neurons, types of nerves. The nervous system comprises of two parts, that is the central nervous system and second one is the peripheral nervous system. As we know that central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system is the network of nerves which connect rest of the body to the brain and the spinal cord. So both are important from our nervous system. Then central nervous system is divided into two parts, the brain and the spinal cord. So let's discuss about the brain. So our brain has basically three parts. Now before starting these parts, we will discuss about the brain, which you have already studied in the 7th standard. So brain lies within the skull or the cranium, a hard skeleton known as the cranium. It is covered by the three membranous layer known as the meninges. So what is the use of the meninges? Meninges, and inside the brain the fluid is present which is known as the cerebrospinal fluid or CSF. And what is the function of the CSF? It cushions the brain against the shock. It provides the nutrients to the neurons of the brain. It take out the waste products or waste material from the neurons or the brain, and it provide chemicals to the neurons also. And one more important thing, it is helpful for the protection. It gives protection to the brain from the infection. So it is written in the book also. It cushions the brain against shock. It helps to distribute nutrients and other chemicals to the neurons of the brain. It collect waste from them also, means provide nutrients and take the waste material from it. And it provides the neurons some protection from the infection. Now come to the three parts. Brain divided into three parts that we have discussed: forebrain, midbrain and the hindbrain. So brain is divided into three parts: forebrain, midbrain and the hindbrain. From the name itself it is clear. Forebrain means the frontal part, midbrain means the mid part, and the hindbrain is the backward part or the posterior part of the brain. Forebrain is consist of two parts, that is cerebrum and the hypothalamus. Cerebrum in the last class you have already studied. It is the main part of the or the largest part of the brain. And the hypothalamus, it helps in the endocrine system, which you will study later on. Means all the hormonal activities are controlled by the hypothalamus. Then come to the midbrain. Its main function is to connect forebrain with the forebrain and spinal cord. Means it connects the forebrain, comes to the hindbrain, and from there it will reach to the spinal cord. And third one is the hindbrain. It is made up of three parts, that is cerebellum, pons and medulla oblongata. Among these three you have already studied about cerebellum and the medulla oblongata. So we will discuss them one by one. The forebrain, it is the interior part. Interior means the frontal part of the brain, and the cerebellum forms the largest part of the forebrain or the entire brain. It is divided into two halves, that is the cerebral hemisphere that you have studied. In between it is divided into two parts, and it have the folds which increase the surface area of the brain, and it have the maximum number of neurons present in it. The cerebral hemispheres are shaped somewhat like kidneys and partially separated each by a deep groove. Their outer surface is full of folds which increase the surface area and help to accommodate the maximum number of neurons. The cell body of the neurons are located in the upper layer of the cerebral hemisphere, giving these layer a grayish appearance. So these bodies are called gray matter. The outer surface is made up of the gray color, so it gives the grayish appearance and it is known as the gray matter. And the axon, mostly inside that or deeper inside this cerebrum, gives the color of white or appear white, so it is known as the white matter. Means the upper layer is grayish matter or gray matter and the inside it is known as the white matter. White matter is mostly found in the deeper part of the cerebrum because axons are deeper. The interior of the cerebrum has three interconnected cavities called the ventricles, and these ventricles are also filled with cerebrospinal fluid. These are filled with the cerebrospinal fluid. The cerebrum is center of the intelligence, that we have already studied. Cerebrum is the center of the intelligence. Here in the picture you can see thought area, movement area, touch area, and then vision area. Then we will come to the cerebrum, spinal cord. This is medulla oblongata. This is the hearing part, and the colored part shows the particular area is useful for which type of movement. And this is the speech area. The green one is the speech area. So this is the cerebrum part. The pinkish is you can see that is the cerebrum, means thought area, and this part. And this middle part is the hearing area, this yellowish part. Then here you can see the cerebrum, which we will discuss later on. And the hypothalamus is also the part of the forebrain, which is linked to the pituitary gland. It controls the endocrine system. Endocrines means the hormonal system of the body. Means it is the pituitary gland is known as the master gland, and it is activated or triggered by the hypothalamus, and it control all the emotional reactions like fear or anger. Then midbrain. The midbrain is the only part or the region which connects forebrain with the hindbrain, and then it reaches to the spinal cord, and its main function is the adjustment of eyes or the eye movements or the adjustment need to order to see the things. And now come to the third part, that is the hindbrain, which I have already told. It consists of three parts, that is the medulla oblongata, pons, and the cerebellum. So cerebellum is the smaller than the cerebrum and located below. It's towards the back of the skull, means back of the skull. And the surface area of cerebrum has a large number of thinly parallel grooves. In the picture you can see it has the thinly parallel grooves, unlike the irregular fold of the cerebrum. Cerebrum have the folds, but it have the grooves. And cerebrum too is filled with the cerebrospinal fluid. Here it is made up of the neurons, and it also consists of the white matter. Inside and outside it contains the grey matter, and it had the ventricle. Fourth ventricle is filled with the cerebrospinal fluid, and cerebrospinal is useful to give the cushion to the cerebrum and the cerebellum, and it provides nutrient to the cerebellum. It collects the waste from the cerebellum. And then if we come to the third ventricle, it is through the thin duct, connected to the thin duct. That is means cerebellum connected to the medulla oblongata through the thick duct, and in between it has the pons. So it connected the cerebellum coordinate our movements like voluntary and involuntary actions. Cerebellum help to control the voluntary action of the body. Voluntary actions means which can work according to our will, but the cerebellum, it can work both involuntary as well as the voluntary, and it helps to maintain the body posture, and it helps to learn the new things. And when we come to the medulla oblongata, it control the involuntary actions like swallowing of the food, digestion, and all types of involuntary activities. And the pons lies above the medulla oblongata, and it relay information from forebrain to the cerebellum. So it take information from the cerebrum to the cerebellum. So pons so we have discussed about cerebellum. It is made up of cerebrum and the hypothalamus or the endocrine system. Then midbrain, it connects the cerebrum or the forebrain to the hindbrain and then to the spinal cord. Then we have talked about the hindbrain, which consists of cerebellum, pons and medulla oblongata. Cerebrum have the grooves. It has the gray matter and the white matter. Pons relay messages from the forebrain or the cerebrum to the cerebellum. And medulla oblongata, it connects to the spinal cord. And when we talk about midbrain, pons and medulla oblongata, these three comes together to make the brain stem. Midbrain, pons and medulla oblongata. Here also I have already written midbrain, pons and medulla oblongata, together they make the brain stem. Hope that you have understand this. So let's discuss again. Forebrain, that is divided into cerebrum and hypothalamus. Cerebrum control voluntary actions, all the voluntary actions. Then hypothalamus, it control endocrine system and emotions such as anger, sadness, happiness. Then midbrain, it connect forebrain to the hindbrain and the spinal cord. And second function of it is to control eye adjustment. Hindbrain consists of three parts: cerebellum, pons and medulla oblongata. Cerebrum coordinates the body movement, posture and balance, help in learning new movements. It can do both voluntary as well as the involuntary actions. Then pons, it relay information from forebrain to the cerebellum and help to control sleep, breathing, swelling, means the involuntary actions. Then comes to the medulla oblongata, it controls the involuntary actions of the body. So hope that you have understand this topic. Now come to the spinal cord. Spinal cord in 7th class also you have studied. The spinal cord is the bundle of nerves arranged in a cylindrical fashion with the narrow canal known as the central canal. So what is a central canal? It is a thin, narrow, cylindrical canal at the center of our body, and it is protected through the vertebrae, or singular you can say vertebra. Like the brain, the spinal cord is also covered with meninges, and it also have the cerebrospinal fluid, and cerebrospinal fluid also function as it functions in the other part of the brain, means cushion the spinal cord, then provide nutrition to the spinal cord and collect waste from the spinal cord. And when we talk about the gray matter and the white matter, so here in the diagram number 5.7 you can see in spinal cord the gray matter is inside and the white matter is outside, because the axons are here and the upper part of that, means cyton of the main cell body, is here, consists of gray matter. Then what is the function of the spinal cord? It relay messages to and from the brain through the nerves, and it's also help in the reflex action. So these two topics we have done today, the part of the brain and second the spinal cord. Hope you have understand. So revise it again at home, and today's home task is to learn the pink words and draw diagram of 5.3 and 5.5 in your school notebook.